The words hung in the air, heavy and impossible. The boy's eyes were wide, sincere, filled with a quiet strength that pierced through the billionaire's calm facade. Jonathan's mind raced, memories he had buried clawing their way back. Room, the city, the endless deals, everything faded into a blur. Malik's voice broke through the storm of thoughts. "She has been waiting for you," he said, his words gentle but insistent. Jonathan leaned forward, the leather of his chair creaking under the sudden weight of disbelief. The city noise outside became distant, as though the world itself was holding its breath. The boy lifted a worn photograph from his backpack, handing it across the table. Jonathan's fingers trembled as he touched it. The image showed a woman, radiant and smiling, a warmth that had been absent from his life for decades. Tears blurred his vision, but he could see the truth etched into every line of her face. Malik waited patiently, the city's cold edges softened by his quiet presence. Jonathan's heart, long armored by wealth and ambition, ached with a mixture of regret and hope. The boy's simple act of courage had cracked a wall he had built around himself. For the first time in years, Jonathan spoke words he had never thought he would say aloud. "Where is she?" Malik smiled softly, a hint of light in the rainy night. "She is here," he whispered. Jonathan's chest tightened, a strange warmth spreading through him as he realized the life he thought was gone had been waiting quietly just beyond his reach. Malik stepped back, letting the moment breathe, the world outside still shimmering with rain and neon. Jonathan knew something had changed forever. The boy had given him a gift beyond money, beyond power. He had given him hope. Jonathan rose from his seat, his legs unsteady as though he had been asleep for years. Malik led him through the wet streets, their footsteps echoing softly against the pavement. The city lights flickered above them, casting shadows that seemed to dance in anticipation. They turned a corner, and there she was, a woman, standing beneath the glow of a street lamp, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched a worn bag. Her eyes widened as she saw Jonathan, disbelief melting into tears. He could feel her heartbeat even from a distance, a rhythm he had long forgotten. Jonathan's voice caught in his throat. "Mother?" he whispered, barely daring to speak. She ran toward him, and he felt the warmth of her embrace wrap around him like sunlight breaking through clouds. Her scent, familiar and comforting, filled the spaces of his memory he had thought were empty. Forever. Malik watched quietly, a small smile playing on his lips. The rain had stopped, leaving the city washed clean, as though it had waited for this reunion. Jonathan held her tightly, feeling the years of absence dissolve in that moment. Tears streamed down both of their faces, mingling with laughter that felt like a long-lost song. "I thought I lost you," Jonathan said, his voice breaking. "You never lost me," she whispered, back holding his face in her hands. For the first time, he allowed himself to feel the life he had ignored for so long. Malik stood back, letting them share the miracle he had carried in his heart. The city around them seemed softer, quieter, as if it too celebrated the reunion. Jonathan looked at Malik, gratitude shining in his eyes. "You have given me more than words can say," he told the boy. Malik only nodded, a shy, knowing smile on his face. Jonathan knew that life could change in a single moment, that hope could arrive in the form of a small, homeless boy with courage in his heart. They stayed there, under the street lamp, letting the world wait outside. A family reunited, hearts mending as the night whispered promises of new beginnings. Jonathan did not return to his office that night. City, once a maze of contracts and deadlines, felt alive with possibility. He held his mother's hand as they walked home, every step grounding him in a life he had almost forgotten. Malik trailed behind, carrying the boyish excitement of someone who had changed a world without even knowing it. In the days that followed, Jonathan's mansion felt different. Rooms once filled with silence now echoed with laughter. the warmth of family, and the scent of home-cooked meals. He invited Malik inside, offering him a bed, clean clothes, and the comfort of a place where he belonged. Malik's eyes widened at the soft sheets, the stacks of books, the piano in the corner, all foreign but safe. Jonathan began to see the world through new eyes, noticing small joys he had ignored for decades. The mother and son shared stories, tears, and smiles, rebuilding years that had been lost. Jonathan knew he wanted to do more than just reclaim his family. He created a foundation, reaching out to children living on the streets, offering them opportunities, mentorship, and care. Malik became his guide, teaching him about resilience, hope, and the quiet strength of the human spirit. Every day, Jonathan saw the spark of possibility in the eyes of the children he helped, and every night he returned home to the embrace of the mother he thought he had lost forever. Through a small boy's courage and honesty, a billionaire found the heart he had buried beneath wealth and ambition. Life had given him a second chance, and he vowed never to waste it. Hope, he realized, could arrive in the smallest, most unexpected forms, and sometimes it came with the gentle voice of a child who simply knew the truth. Jonathan held his mother and looked at Malik. "You saved us," he whispered. Malik only smiled, as if he already knew the world could be healed with small acts of love. The city outside continued its rhythm, but inside, hearts beat in unison, whole, renewed, and full of promise. Weeks later, Jonathan, his mother, and Malik stepped out into the city streets together. The evening air was crisp, carrying the hum of life and the sparkle of city lights. Journalists and photographers gathered for the charity gala Jonathan had organized, but he barely noticed them. His focus was on the people beside him, his mother smiling with quiet pride, and Malik, full of wonder. Children from the foundation ran past, laughing, their faces alight with hope. Jonathan watched them, realizing that every life they touched carried a ripple of change. He led his mother and Malik to the stage, where he began to speak to the crowd. He spoke of loss, courage, and the small moments that could transform lives. He told the story of Malik, the boy who had shown him the path back to love and family. The audience listened, hearts softening, some with tears glistening in their eyes. Malik stood beside him, shy but proud, holding the hand of the woman he had helped reunite with her son. Jonathan's mother embraced them both, and the cameras captured a moment of pure, unspoken joy. The city outside glimmered like a sea of possibilities, reflecting the warmth of what had been restored. Jonathan realized that wealth and power meant little compared to love, trust, and second chances. The gala became more than an event. It became a celebration of hearts mending and lives intertwining. He looked down at Malik, eyes shining with gratitude and innocence. "You showed me the way," Jonathan whispered. Malik smiled, as if to say, "The world is always brighter when you share it with love." As the night unfolded, laughter and music filled the air, carrying the promise of a future built not just on riches, but on care, kindness, and family. The three of them stood together, the lights of the city reflecting in their eyes, knowing that nothing could ever break the bond they had forged. He had lived on the streets for years, invisible to the world, carrying only secrets and scars. Then, one rainy night, a small voice pierced the silence. "Your mother is alive." The word struck him harder than any deal, any fortune, any lie he had ever believed. In that moment, everything he thought he knew about life, loss, and family began to unravel. The rain-slicked streets reflected the neon lights like broken mirrors. A small figure shuffled through the puddles, clutching a tattered backpack close to his chest. His name was Malik, a boy of 12, whose life had been a maze of empty alleys and cold benches. He smelled the faint aroma of coffee drifting from a nearby cafe and felt a pang of longing for warmth. Across the street, A sleek black car gleamed under the city lights. Inside sat Jonathan Hawley, a billionaire known for his icy demeanor and unshakable confidence. He sipped his drink, scrolling through his phone, detached from the world outside. Malik paused at the curb, watching the car as if it held answers he did not yet understand. He took a deep breath, the chill biting his lungs, and stepped closer. His small hand shook, but his voice was steady when he spoke. "Your mother is alive," he said. Jonathan froze, the glass slipping slightly in his grip, and for the first time, Jonathan felt truly, completely at home. Years passed, and the city continued its steady rhythm, but the lives of Jonathan, his mother, and Malik had transformed forever. The foundation they had built together now reached hundreds of children, giving them shelter, education, and hope. Malik had grown into a confident young man, his courage and kindness inspiring everyone around him. Jonathan watched him with quiet pride, remembering the small boy who had once delivered a life-changing truth. His mother, radiant and serene, had become the heart of their home, filling it with laughter, warmth, and the wisdom of love restored. On a sunny afternoon, the three of them walked through a bustling playground filled with children who had once faced streets like Malik had. Laughter rang out, pure and infectious, as Jonathan held his mother's hand and Malik ran ahead, guiding a group of younger kids. Jonathan felt a deep, unshakable peace. The city skyline glimmered above them, but for the first time, he saw it not as a place of ambition and power, but as a canvas of possibility. Malik turned back, smiling, and Jonathan knew that the boy who had once carried the secret of hope had grown into a bridge between past and future. His mother's eyes met his, and in that silent gaze, decades of separation and longing melted away. They had all found each other, and in doing so, had found a life richer than any fortune could ever provide. Jonathan knelt to hug Malik, and the boy's embrace was no longer shy or uncertain. It was full of trust, pride, and love. As the sun set, casting golden light over the playground, Jonathan realized that true wealth had always been here in family, courage, and the hearts they had healed together. He looked at Malik and his mother, a soft smile on his face, and whispered to himself, "We are home." And in that moment, everything felt complete, tender, and endlessly full of hope.